Hello YouTube, it's Wick Gaming here, and today I'm gonna walk you through one of the events that you're probably gonna find from the very early stages of the kingdom. And yes, I'm speaking about Cerioli Crisis. It's an event that you don't want to miss out because it's gonna give you many blueprints and materials that you're gonna use to equip your commanders. I'm gonna give you some tips and advices on how to clear all 5 bosses effectively and investing as little time as possible, so stick around. The first boss we are talking about is Skira, of course, who is a bit the symbol of the Cerioli Crisis, being she available to challenge from the very beginning of the event, as well as being recruitable as a very valuable epic commander into the game. Not much to say here. I suggest you bring 4 heavy hitting DPS. DPS means damage per second. You want also to change the default third skill and choose the healing one, just to recover a bit of strength during the battle. You may want to include some debuffers like Tomiris or Kira herself, as well as some AoE commanders like YSG, to clear the swarm of minions she spawns. Be careful to protect yourself from the arrow storm with the shields appearing on the battlefield, and that's it. You clear the boss really easily. The second boss is Frida, and she's even more straightforward compared to the previous one. She goes into a freezing state that lasts for 60 seconds, and in that time I highly suggest you gather with your teammates in one of the corners as far as possible from her, and the reason being you cannot attack her in the frozen state, since she's invincible. And please be careful to the defrost, since she's going to activate a huge circular area of damage that is gonna demolish you if you are too close. After she finishes, you can go back to attack her and eventually kill her. Same pairing selection as before, 4 DPS, and you might want to use some debuffers and AoE damage as well. Another small tip for you and your teammates is that you might want to stay in 4 different positions, north, south, east and west, in order not to allow her to hit multiple targets with the AoE damage. We go now straight forward to the third, Astrid. The most important thing you need to know about this boss is that she has 2 main states. The blue state, in which she is going to debuff you, and the red state, where she is going to take advantage of that debuff and deal an exceptional amount of damage to the debuffed targets. You can see in the video that the targets hit by the AoE will have a red circle around them. You want to avoid that those debuffed marches take direct damage from her when she switches to the red state. The way to do that is pretty easy. You might want to use 2 tanks. I'm using here Wanyu and Richard, which are fine to deal some damage as well. So the first player tanks in the very beginning in the blue state, and when she switches the state to the red, the second tank attracts her, and all the rest, debuffed player included, can attack her from the back. If a debuffed player takes skill damage during the red state, he's gonna die, or very close to, so pay attention. Another thing you want to avoid is that the player who gets the arrow on the top during the blue state runs away until the arrow has disappeared, to avoid everyone to get the circular AoE damage, which is gonna debuff everyone and make things much harder. The DPS players might want to use high damage single target commanders such as Guan Yu, Ramses, YSG, etc. with the healing skill as well for the third choice to recover some strength during the fight. As concerned the second DPS skill, you can choose the direct damage, which is gonna help you as well. The fourth boss, or double boss in this case, are the twins Ak and Hawk. The mechanic is not as difficult as it may seem at the beginning. What you want to do here is to have one big tank, for example Richard with Charles, and 3 DPS marches always attacking on the other side. The tank is gonna position himself in the center and start battle, attracting both the twins, Sun and Moon, on him, while the others keep damaging the Sun, who is also gonna receive extra damage from archer units, and that's why we are all using here Ramses with YSG. But any other high DPS or high DPS and debuff combination is absolutely fine. When the Sun inverts with the Moon, you invert as well and you keep attacking the Sun. The only thing you need to pay close attention to here are the circles, or donuts as I call them, appearing on the field. You may want to stay outside of the first smaller circle and inside or outside the area of the donuts to avoid big skill damage. And that's it. They are usually pretty weak and easy to kill. And finally, our newest and last boss, Targni. One of the easiest tactics here is to use 2 DPS, 1 tank and 1 support skill set. The tank is going of course to take the big hits, while the DPS damage the boss and the support helps them recover health. For this reason, the support player must choose as second skill the 8 skill point circular area healing skill, which is going to restore 1% of health for each player every second for 10 seconds, for a total of 10% or 20 or 21,000 troops. What you need to pay attention to here is when the boss reaches 75, 50 and 25% of health. He's going to drop an arrow on the top of one of the players, which you want to stay away from for a few seconds because he's going to explode, so to say, and deal AoE damage. And right after, a small Loar is going to appear next to him. Now, you want to kill him as fast as possible and enter the shield, because otherwise the boss is going to deal you an insane amount of damage with some form of blast. The same is going to happen at 50% health, while at 25% he will enter in a sort of frenzy, stacking debuffs on each of you. At that point, you want to kill super fast all the small Loars that he will keep spawning in order to reset stacks of debuff on you once you enter the shield. Keep nuking him and eventually he will die. One last thing you might want to pay attention to is to stay out of the big red circles that is gonna spawn here and there, because they are gonna deal you a lot of damage. If you like this type of videos where I give you tips and advices on how to compete into the game or clear events like Cerioli Crisis, or where we analyze commanders and pairings, please consider leaving a like and supporting me by subscribing to the channel. Also, our new Discord channel is now ready and you will find the invitation link in the description below. We will share there a lot of tips and you can also request some videos for me to make in the future. As always, thank you for tuning in and I will see you on the next video. Ciao!